Long before the birth of Christ, the world was not as disconnected as it seems in history books. Ancient trade routes connected India with Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Roman Empire. Along with silk and spices, these routes carried something far more powerful: ideas. Philosophies, symbols, and spiritual practices flowed silently from the east to the west. Among them, the teachings of Sanatana Dharma, the eternal path known today as Hinduism, stood as a luminous beacon of wisdom. It taught of karma, dharma, and the cyclical appearance of divine incarnations known as avatars. Across the seas and deserts, echoes of these teachings may have found new soil in the lands that would one day embrace Christianity. Could it be that the story of Christ was not an isolated revelation, but a continuation? A rebirth of a timeless spiritual truth first sung in the Vedas? The Bible speaks little of Jesus between the ages of 12 and 30, a span historians call the lost years. It is as though the Messiah vanished, only to reappear decades later, preaching divine love and eternal truth. In the late 19th century, a Russian traveller named Nicholas Notovich claimed to have discovered manuscripts in the Hemis monastery of Ladakh, describing a saint called Issa, a Western holy man who studied in India among Brahmins and Buddhists. These records said that Issa learned the Vedas, mastered meditation, and preached compassion before returning westward. Though the discovery was controversial, the idea persisted. Later explorers such as Swami Abhedananda and Paramahansa Yogananda mentioned similar traditions preserved in Himalayan monasteries. Even today, legends from Kashmir speak of a prophet from the west who taught unity and divine love, and whose tomb, the Rosabal Shrine in Srinagar, bears mysterious resemblance to descriptions of Christ. If these accounts are even partially true, they hint at something astonishing: that Jesus may have walked the lands of India, absorbing the spiritual essence of the East before returning to transform the West. When one reads the Bhagavad Gita and the New Testament side by side, uncanny similarities begin to appear. In the Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that whenever goodness declines and evil rises, he manifests himself to restore righteousness. Jesus declares in the Gospel of John, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me shall not walk in darkness." Both speak not as ordinary men, but as incarnations of divine consciousness. Krishna asks Arjuna to surrender all actions to God, just as Jesus prays, "Not my will, but thine be done." Both guide their followers through surrender, not through domination. The message of divine compassion, forgiveness, and unity flows through both teachings like the same river wearing two names. Even the symbolism of the cross, the meeting point of heaven and earth, echoes the ancient Hindu swastika, the cosmic intersection of the spiritual and the material. It is as if the same eternal truth was whispered in Sanskrit and later spoken again in Aramaic. In Hindu cosmology, Vishnu descends in various forms to restore balance whenever chaos threatens creation. The 8th avatar, Krishna, appeared in the Dvapara Yuga to guide humanity through love and wisdom. The 9th avatar, according to many traditions, is Buddha. Yet, not all scriptures agree. Some Puranas describe the Buddha as a symbolic figure who deluded the wicked rather than as the historical Siddhartha. In certain southern traditions, the 9th place remains undefined, as if reserved for a teacher of divine compassion yet to be recognized. Here lies a mystery. Jesus' life mirrors the essence of Vishnu's mission, to uphold Dharma and redeem humanity through sacrifice and love. His miracles, healing the sick, walking upon water, resurrecting the dead, parallel the divine acts of Krishna. His crucifixion, in which he offers himself for the salvation of others, reflects Vishnu's own cosmic self-offering to sustain the universe. If avatars are not bound by geography or language, could Jesus have been the 9th descent, a manifestation of Vishnu appearing in the West to guide mankind once again toward righteousness? To the mystics of India, Jesus was never foreign. Swami Vivekananda once said that Christ was the embodiment of renunciation and love, the very ideals of the yogic path. Paramahansa Yogananda described Jesus as a perfected yogi who had attained union with the divine, a master of the inner kingdom of God. When Jesus retreated into the desert for 40 days, he was engaging in tapasya, the ancient practice of purification through solitude. His transfiguration, when his face shone like the sun, resembles the yogic state of samadhi, where consciousness merges with divine light. And when he declared, "I and my Father are one," he spoke the very truth revealed in the Upanishads, "Aham Brahmasmi," I am Brahman. The Christ consciousness he embodied and the Krishna consciousness of the Gita are but two expressions of the same infinite realization that the divine dwells within all beings, waiting to be awakened through love and surrender. Hints of India's influence appear even in the Old Testament. The mysterious land of Ophir, from which King Solomon imported gold, ivory, and peacocks, is believed by some historians to have been located on India's Malabar coast. Peacocks, unknown in the Middle East, were sacred to Hindu deities long before their arrival in biblical lore. The early Christian sect of the Essenes practiced meditation, vegetarianism, and ritual purity, disciplines remarkably similar to Hindu and Buddhist asceticism. These shared spiritual patterns suggest not coincidence, but cross-cultural transmission, the blending of Eastern mysticism with Western faith, centuries before Christianity was born. Beneath the surface of history, a silent exchange was already shaping the spiritual destiny of mankind. If Jesus was indeed the 9th avatar of Vishnu, then humanity still awaits the 10th Kalki, the future Redeemer who will ride forth to end the age of darkness. But perhaps this prophecy is not about one man, but about awakening itself, the return of divine consciousness within every heart. The avatars of Vishnu may not be separate beings, but recurring waves of the same cosmic energy that manifest whenever the world forgets its divinity. Seen this way, Jesus, Krishna, and Buddha are not rivals but reflections of one universal spirit, descending through time to guide humanity's evolution. The East and West, the temple and the church, the chakra and the cross, all point toward one truth, that God is not divided by religion, language, or form. And so when Jesus whispered, "The kingdom of God is within you," he may have been echoing the ancient Vedic insight that the self is Brahman, the infinite consciousness from which all creation flows. Perhaps this is why his message endures beyond doctrine, because it is the same message spoken by the avatars of old. The cycle continues, the forms may change, but the light remains eternal, the light of Vishnu, the preserver of all worlds, who manifests again and again to remind mankind of its divine origin.